Sometimes silence speaks louder than any word ever could. My friends, that one line right there has changed more lives than you can imagine, because here's the truth most people don't want to admit. The moment you stop chasing, you stop losing. The moment you take your power back, everything about the dynamic changes. They notice, they feel it, and trust me, they don't react the way you think they will. Hey folks, imagine this. You've been running on a treadmill for months, sweating, exhausted, going nowhere, and then one day you just step off. Suddenly the machine keeps spinning on its own, but you're standing still, calm, collected, watching it burn energy for nothing. That's exactly what happens when you stop chasing someone who thought they had you all figured out. You step off the treadmill and they panic because the game has changed. We've all been fed this lie that the more attention, effort and energy we pour into someone, the more they'll value us. But here's the reality. Attention without boundaries only creates comfort for them and exhaustion for you. The moment you pull that attention back, the moment you stop being predictable, it shakes their world. It's like pulling the ground out from under someone who thought they were standing on solid rock. They feel the shock. They feel the sudden emptiness where your validation used to be. And what makes it powerful is that you don't explain, you don't justify, you just move differently. This silence, my friends, is not weakness. It's power. Because in that quiet space, they start questioning everything. What changed? Did I misread them? Why aren't they chasing anymore? These questions swirl in their head, and the more they wonder, the more they realize they never had as much control as they thought. See, folks, this isn't about games. This is about self-respect. It's about finally understanding that you are not someone's backup plan, not someone's emotional crutch. When you pull back, you're telling the world, I am enough. I don't need to prove my worth to anyone. That right there is the energy that makes people reevaluate how they treated you. So today, we're going to break down exactly how they react when they realize you're no longer interested. And let me tell you, it's way more intense, way more revealing, and way more powerful than you might think. Write this in the comments right now. I choose silence. I choose power. I choose self-respect. Because this is the shift that changes everything. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me. Because once you understand their reaction, you'll never look at relationships the same way again. Number 1, the shock of losing control. Certainty is comforting until it's gone. That one sentence explains exactly why their first reaction when you pull away hits harder than you can imagine. Folks, think about it. People love feeling like they've got it all figured out. They love knowing exactly how you'll react, exactly when you'll reply, exactly how much you care. That sense of certainty is like a warm blanket on a cold night. It makes them feel safe, powerful, in control. But the second you take that away, the second you stop feeding them the reassurance they've grown used to, that blanket is ripped away and the cold reality sets in. Imagine this. You're standing on a stage in front of a huge crowd. You've got a speech to give, but your notes are gone. Suddenly the lights feel too bright, your hands start to sweat, and the silence in the room feels deafening. That's exactly what happens inside their mind when they realize you're no longer interested. They thought they had the script, but now the lines are gone. The fear creeps in almost instantly. What happened? Did I misread them? Did I do something wrong? They don't say these things out loud, but their mind starts racing. That's the power of uncertainty. It forces people to ask questions they didn't have to ask before. When you were consistent, they didn't need to think. They knew where they stood. But now, Every unanswered message, every moment of silence, every change in your energy feels like a puzzle they can't solve. This is where the lies they've believed start to crumble. For so long, they assumed your attention was guaranteed, that no matter what, you'd always be there proving your interest. But now, they're confronted with the truth. They don't have the control they thought they had, and that realization stings. It's like watching sand slip through their fingers, no matter how tightly they try to hold on. The hardest part for you, my friends, is holding your ground in this moment, because deep down, a part of you might still want to explain yourself, to reassure them, to prove that you still care. That urge comes from fear. The fear of being misunderstood, the fear of losing them forever. But here's the reality. Every time you rush back to explain yourself, you hand the power right back. The truth is, this stage is uncomfortable for both of you. They're panicking because they feel the sudden loss of control. You're fighting the instinct to fix it, but this discomfort is where real growth happens. Stoicism teaches us that power isn't in chasing, it's in mastering yourself. Emotional control isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about choosing your response instead of reacting out of fear. Think about it like this. If a tree bent every time the wind blew, it would never grow strong. But the tree that stands firm, even when the storm hits, becomes unshakable. That's exactly what you're doing by staying silent and grounded right now. You're teaching them, without saying a single word, that your worth doesn't depend on their approval. So let this moment of shock play out. Don't rush to fill the silence. Don't explain away your change in energy, because in that quiet, powerful space, they start to see you differently. They begin to realize that you're not the same predictable person they once thought they had figured out. And that shift, that's when the balance of power starts to tip. Write this down in the comments right now. I choose strength. I choose silence. I choose power. Show yourself. Show the world. Because when you own your silence, when you refuse to chase, you become unforgettable. And trust me, this is only the beginning. What happens next? The fear, the curiosity, the way they start scrambling to win you back, is where things get even more interesting. Stay with me, because once you see their next move, you'll understand just how powerful you really are. Number 2, the fear of losing validation. Validation is like oxygen. People don't notice it until it's gone. Folks, this is where things start to get real. When they sense your interest slipping away, it isn't just confusion they feel, it's panic. Not the kind of panic that's loud and obvious, but a quiet, gnawing fear that keeps them up at night. See, when you were giving them attention, when you were consistent, when you made them feel special, you were feeding their sense of importance in your life. That attention was their oxygen. It made them feel secure, valued, in control. But the second you pull it back, it's like taking away air they didn't realize they were breathing. Think of it this way. Imagine someone who's used to walking into a room and having everyone look their way. That spotlight makes them feel powerful, but one day they walk in and nobody even glances up. Suddenly, the ground feels shaky beneath their feet. They start wondering, did I lose something? What changed? That's exactly how they feel when your validation disappears. And this is where the fear of losing control starts to creep in. They might not admit it out loud, but deep inside, they're testing you. Those little texts, "Hey, how've you been?" or "I saw something today that reminded me of you." They seem casual, but they're not. These messages are feelers, quiet attempts to see if you'll give them back the reassurance they crave. But when you don't bite, when you don't jump in with your old energy, it unsettles them even more. They might try different tactics, acting indifferent, mentioning other people, posting things just to see if you'll react. These aren't random behaviors. They're subtle strategies to regain the influence they fear they've lost. Here's where most people mess it up. They see these breadcrumbs as a sign of renewed interest and instantly start chasing again. They reply too fast, they over-explain, they try to prove they still care. And just like that, the power they had gained by pulling back gets handed right back. But my friends, you have to see the truth here. This isn't real interest yet. It's not about love, not about connection. It's about power. They're not fighting for you. They're fighting for the control they once had over your emotions. And yes, holding your ground here is hard. There's a voice inside you saying, if I don't reply quickly, they might lose interest forever. But that's just fear talking, the same fear that's kept you over-investing, over-explaining, and over-chasing in the past. Stoicism teaches us that strength comes from not being ruled by fear. Self-control is power. When you stay calm, when you don't feed into their tests, you shift everything. You show them, without a single word, that their validation isn't something you need anymore. That's unsettling for them, but incredibly powerful for you. Think of a fire. It only burns as long as you keep feeding it wood. Stop feeding it, and slowly the flames die down. Their need for validation is the same. If you keep giving them attention whenever they reach out, you're just fueling the fire. But when you stay composed and detached, they start to realize that they don't control the flames anymore. You do. This is the point where they begin to reevaluate you. Suddenly, the person they thought they could always count on isn't so predictable. And that unpredictability, that's what creates attraction. People are drawn to mystery. They're drawn to those who don't hand over their worth freely. So let them feel that fear. Let them wonder. Let them scramble for the validation they once took for granted. Because in doing nothing, you're actually doing everything. You're reclaiming your power, setting the standard, and showing them that your value isn't up for negotiation. Write this down in the comments right now. I am my own validation. I choose power. I choose control. Show them, show yourself, show the world that you are no longer the same predictable person they once knew. Because this right here is where the real shift begins. And trust me, what happens next, the way curiosity takes over, the way they start overthinking every detail, is where your silence becomes your greatest weapon. Stay with me. Number 3, curiosity takes over. The unknown has more power over the mind than any answer ever could. Folks, this is where things start to get interesting. After the shock settles and their little attempts to pull you back don't get the reaction they want, something deeper begins to happen. Curiosity. And let me tell you, curiosity is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology. When people can't figure you out, when they can't predict you, their minds become obsessed with trying to solve the puzzle. Think about it like this. Imagine you're reading a mystery novel and suddenly the last chapter is missing. You'd drive yourself crazy wondering how it ends, right? That's exactly what's happening inside their mind. For so long, they believed they knew your every move. They thought they had you figured out, like a predictable story they could read in their sleep. But now, you've ripped out the final pages, and they can't stand not knowing how the story ends. Their brains start spinning in circles. What changed? Did I do something wrong? Are they seeing someone else? Did I underestimate them? These thoughts don't just appear once and go away. They repeat over and over, especially at night when things are quiet. Every unanswered question becomes a louder echo in their head. And here's the part most people don't realize. Curiosity doesn't just make them wonder about what you're doing now. It makes them revisit everything from the past. They start replaying your old conversations, your actions, the times you were there for them, the moments they felt special because of you. The things they once took for granted suddenly feel amplified. It's like your silence has turned up the volume on every good memory they ever had with you. But why does this happen? Because when something or someone becomes scarce, its value increases. When you were always available, they didn't have to think about your worth. It was right there in front of them. But now that you've stepped back, your absence becomes the loudest presence in their life. They might start asking friends for advice, trying to piece together a story that explains your behavior. They might check your social media more often, looking for clues. Every small change in your energy becomes a big deal to them. And that's the beauty of this stage. You don't have to do anything. Their mind is doing all the heavy lifting for you. Here's the trap, though. This is often when they'll try a little harder to get your attention. Maybe they post something to see if you react. Maybe they send a text that feels more personal. Maybe they even bring up an old memory to test the waters. But remember this, curiosity is not yet commitment. If you jump back in too soon, you break the mystery and hand back the power. This stage is difficult because your ego might want to prove that you're fine, that you're thriving, that you don't care. But Stoicism teaches us that true strength is calmness. It's holding your frame without the need to prove anything, because the less you do, the more they think. Think of it like fishing. If you pull on the line too soon, the fish swims away. But if you just let it stay in the water, eventually it bites. Your silence is the bait. Your calmness is the hook. And the longer you hold, the more powerful their curiosity becomes. The incredible part, the very qualities they once overlooked, your loyalty, your consistency, your effort, start to look golden in your absence. People always see the value of something once it's gone. And right now, every day that passes without your attention is increasing your worth in their mind. So let them sit in that space. Let them wonder. Let them overthink, because the more they think, the more they feel pulled back toward you, not because you're chasing, but because you've stopped. Write this in the comments right now. I am the mystery. I am the prize. I choose silence. Show yourself. Show the world that you are no longer explaining yourself to anyone, because what happens next, the moment their ego gets involved and they realize they're not as powerful as they thought, is where the real shift explodes. And trust me, you won't want to miss that part. Stay with me. Number 4, when ego gets involved. Ego is fragile. It only feels strong when it believes it's in control. Folks, this is the stage where things get messy. Up until now, they've felt the shock. They've tried to get your validation back, and their curiosity has been eating away at them. But when none of that works, their ego steps in. And let me tell you, ego hates losing. Ego hates the idea that the person it thought would always be there has suddenly changed the game. Think about it like this. Picture a chess player who's been winning every match without even trying. They've grown cocky, thinking they can predict every move of their opponent. But then, out of nowhere, the opponent makes a move they never saw coming, one that completely flips the board. That sinking feeling of, wait, did I just lose control? That's exactly what hits them. Ego is tied to identity. For so long, they saw themselves as someone who mattered more to you than you did to them. Your consistent attention made them feel powerful, significant, validated. But your silence, your detachment, it destroys that illusion. And when the ego feels threatened, it fights back, hard. This is where you might start noticing some strange behavior. They could act overly confident, pretending they don't care. They might post things on social media to make it look like they've moved on. They could even try to provoke you, mentioning other people, bringing up old arguments, or throwing subtle jabs designed to trigger a reaction. But don't get it twisted. This isn't real confidence. It's ego in defense mode. It's a mask, because underneath that act is a growing fear that they've lost the control they once had over you. Here's the danger for you. This is the moment they'll test you the hardest. They'll do things to see if you'll break your silence, if you'll chase again, if you'll go back to the old version of yourself who was predictable and easy to win over. And for a lot of people, this is where they fail. They see these ego-driven behaviors and think, maybe they really don't care. Maybe I should reach out. But my friends, that's exactly what the ego wants you to do. It wants you to react, because the moment you do, they feel powerful again. Stoicism teaches us something different. Power isn't reacting. Power is staying unmoved. Ego feeds on attention. The less you give it, the weaker it becomes. Think of it like a shadow. It only exists when light is shining on it. Take away the light, and the shadow disappears. Your silence removes the spotlight from their ego, and that's what truly unsettles them. Now, this won't be easy. When you see them acting like they've completely moved on, when you see them trying to make you jealous, every part of you might want to prove you're fine too. But proving yourself is still reacting. And when you react, you lose. Instead, you stand firm. You don't explain. You don't fight for attention. You don't try to one-up them, because the less you engage, the more their ego begins to crumble. And as their ego weakens, something powerful happens. Real emotions start to take over. They begin to realize that maybe they took you for granted. Maybe they weren't as secure as they thought, and that realization is far more powerful than any words you could ever say. This stage is where you truly show growth, because when you refuse to be manipulated, when you refuse to get pulled back into old patterns, you show that you're no longer the person they can toy with. You show that your worth is not tied to their approval, and that, my friends, is the most attractive energy you can have. It's like watching a mountain stand tall during a storm. The wind can howl, the rain can pour, but the mountain doesn't move. That's the energy you hold when you refuse to let their ego-driven actions control you. Write this in the comments right now. I am unshaken. I am in control. I choose my power. Let the world see it. Let yourself see it, because this is the moment where everything shifts. When you stay firm and their ego finally realizes it has no power over you anymore, that's when the walls start to crack and the real transformation begins. And what comes next? That's when the void you've left behind becomes impossible for them to ignore. Stay with me. Number 5, the growing emotional void. You never notice how loud silence is until it replaces the noise you took for granted. My friends, this is where your absence starts to speak louder than any words ever could. Up until now, they've been shocked. They've tried to pull you back. They've wrestled with their ego. But as time passes and you remain firm, a powerful shift begins. They start to feel the void. See, when someone gets used to your presence, your consistency, your energy, they treat it like background music. It's always there, so they stop really hearing it. But the second it's gone, the silence is deafening. And that silence, it doesn't just feel empty, it feels heavy. Imagine living next to a train track. At first, every train that passes rattles your world, but eventually you stop noticing it. It becomes normal. Then one day, the trains stop completely. At first, you enjoy the quiet, but soon, the silence feels unnatural, unsettling. You realize you'd grown attached to something you never really appreciated. That's exactly what happens here. At first, they might shrug it off. They'll come back. They always do. But as days turn into weeks, they begin to notice what's missing. It's not just your texts or calls. It's the way you listen, the way you made them laugh, the stability you provided without them even realizing it. Your absence starts to highlight every single thing they once overlooked. And here's the powerful part. The longer you stay silent, the more their mind begins to romanticize the good. It's human nature to amplify the value of what's scarce. The same qualities they once ignored suddenly feel priceless. Because scarcity creates value, and your silence has made you rare. This void isn't just emotional, it's psychological. People crave certainty. They crave knowing where they stand. Your absence removes that certainty completely. They start wondering, did I underestimate them? Did I push them too far? Are they really moving on without me? These questions eat at them more than any argument or explanation ever could. But here's where you must be strong, because this stage can feel just as heavy for you. You'll have moments where you miss them, where you feel tempted to reach out, to break the silence, just to feel that old comfort again. That urge is normal. But remember this, every time you break silence out of fear, you take away the lesson they're starting to learn. Silence is not about ignoring them. It's about valuing yourself enough to not hand over your worth so easily. You're showing them without a word that you were never an option. They just treated you like one. And when you remove yourself, they realize just how much they relied on you being there. Think of a candle burning in a room. As long as it's lit, people don't think twice about the light. But when it burns out, the darkness feels suffocating. Suddenly, they remember how much that small flame mattered. You are that flame. And now that it's gone, they can't ignore the emptiness. This is the turning point. This is when regret starts creeping in. The same person who once felt secure in your attention is now wondering if they've lost something they won't get back. And that fear, that regret, it grows every single day you stay grounded in your power. My friends, let them feel it. Don't rush to fill the silence. Don't try to prove that you're fine without them, because the moment you move with grace and restraint, your absence becomes the loudest presence in their life. Write this in the comments right now. I choose peace. I choose strength. I choose self-respect. Let the world see it. Let yourself see it. Because this is where your power shines the brightest. When you realize you don't need to fight for a place in anyone's life. And trust me, as this void grows, the next stage is inevitable. Their mind won't stop replaying the past. They'll feel your silence more with every passing day. And soon, that silence won't just make them wonder. It'll make them desperate to act. Stay with me. Number 6, why silence amplifies your presence. Power isn't in what you say, it's in what you no longer need to explain. My friends, silence is one of the most misunderstood forces in relationships. Most people believe that if you care about someone, you must constantly prove it, through words, through effort, through endless reassurance. But here's the truth. The more you explain, the less they value your presence. And the moment you pull back and stop filling every empty space with your energy, that's when your presence becomes louder than ever. Think about it. Imagine hearing the same song every single day. At first, you enjoy it, but after a while, you stop really listening. It becomes just noise in the background. Then one day, the song stops playing. Suddenly, you notice how much it once meant to you. You miss it. That's exactly what happens when you go silent. Your silence strips away the comfort they took for granted. It forces them to sit with their own thoughts, their own insecurities, their own mistakes. Without you reassuring them, they start questioning everything. Why haven't they reached out? Are they really done with me? Did I lose them for good? And here's the beautiful part. When you stop proving yourself, you remind them of something powerful. You were never there to beg for validation. Your worth doesn't need to be spoken to exist. Silence becomes your loudest statement. Most people panic in this phase. They think, if I don't say something, they'll forget about me. But the opposite is true. The more you chase, the easier you are to forget. The more you step back, the harder you are to ignore. Because scarcity creates value. People want what they can't easily have. Silence is not passive, it's intentional. It's a declaration that says, I know who I am, I don't need to prove it to you. And that energy, that's magnetic. It's the difference between someone begging to be seen and someone who commands attention simply by existing. Think of a mountain again, silent, immovable, steady. It doesn't need to prove its presence. It just stands there, and its very existence demands respect. That's what you become when you master silence. Now, don't mistake silence for playing games. You're not ignoring them to manipulate them. You're giving space for yourself, for them, for clarity. You're letting your absence do what your words never could. Because when you were always available, always explaining, always proving, you removed the mystery. And mystery is what keeps people invested. As time passes, your silence begins to amplify every memory of you. They start to recall the things that once made you different, your loyalty, your patience, your presence. These things feel even bigger now that they're gone. And the longer you remain silent, the more they start to feel your weight, not as someone who needs them, but as someone they should have valued more. This stage is powerful because it flips the entire script. The person who once believed they had all the control suddenly feels powerless. They don't know where they stand. They don't know if they've lost you for good. And that uncertainty becomes addictive. It makes them think about you constantly. But here's where you must hold firm, because silence only works if you don't break it out of fear. The second you start explaining, apologizing, or seeking reassurance, you undo everything. You hand back the power that silence gave you. True strength is being okay with not being understood. True power is being willing to let someone wonder rather than beg them to see your worth. And when you hold that frame, you become unforgettable. Write this in the comments right now. I don't chase. I don't beg. I choose silence. Let it be a reminder to you and to everyone who sees it that real power isn't loud. It's calm, unshaken, and impossible to ignore. Because this silence you're holding, it's only going to get stronger. And soon, as the tension builds, as every unanswered question eats away at them, they won't just wonder, they'll be compelled to act. And trust me, that's when the real shift begins. Stay with me. Number 7, the emotional tension peaks. The mind can handle pain better than it can handle unanswered questions. My friends, this is the point where your silence has done its work, and the weight of it becomes impossible for them to ignore. The longer you remain calm, detached, and unshaken, the more emotional tension builds inside them. It's not just that they miss you, it's that they have no idea where they stand anymore, and that uncertainty, it's like a splinter in their mind they can't get rid of. Think of it like a kettle sitting on a stove. At first, the water is still, but as the heat slowly rises, bubbles begin to form. And then, without warning, it whistles. That whistle is their breaking point, the moment when silence and uncertainty become too much to bear. See, people can handle rejection. They can handle closure. What they can't handle is not knowing. And your silence creates exactly that. It's not just absence, it's a mystery they can't solve. Every unanswered question, are they really over me? Did I mess this up for good? Do they even care anymore? becomes louder with each passing day. This tension is powerful because it invades every part of their life. Suddenly, little things remind them of you, a song, a place, a random memory. Things they once brushed off now feel heavier. It's as if your presence is haunting them, even though you've said nothing. And what makes this stage so effective is that you haven't lifted a finger. You're not sending long texts. You're not posting just to get their attention. You're not chasing. You're simply existing, focused on your own life, your own growth, your own peace. That's what makes the tension so unbearable for them. They're realizing that the world they once felt secure in, where your attention was guaranteed, no longer exists. But here's the thing, this isn't just about making them miss you. This is about you taking your power back. Stoicism teaches us that strength isn't reacting to every emotion that arises. It's standing firm, even when everything in you wants to act. Because right now, there might be moments when you're tempted to break the silence, to check in, to see if they still care. Resist it, because every time you hold steady, you reinforce the lesson that you are not someone who gives your value away freely. This emotional tension is also what separates real interest from ego-driven behavior. See, when they start to feel this pressure, their next moves will reveal everything. If they're genuinely realizing your worth, they'll reach out in meaningful ways. But if it's just ego, you'll notice they still play games. Small jabs, attention-seeking posts, half-hearted texts. Your job is to stay calm through it all, because emotional control is what keeps the power with you. Think of it like standing on a battlefield where the other side is throwing everything at you to make you flinch. Every time you don't react, every time you don't take the bait, you win. And here's the beauty of this stage. Because you haven't said a word, every scenario running through their mind is one they've created themselves. They don't know if you've moved on. They don't know if you're happier without them. They don't know if you're even thinking about them at all. That unknown becomes addictive. It's why people check their phones constantly, why they replay old conversations in their head, why they keep waiting for a message that never comes. The tension builds, and with every passing day, your absence becomes more powerful. You're no longer the person chasing. You're the person they can't stop thinking about, because you've become rare. Write this in the comments right now. I stay calm. I stay strong. I hold my power. Let that be your reminder that true strength isn't in what you do. It's in what you refuse to do. Because this tension, it's reaching its peak. And soon, they won't just think, they'll act. They'll try to break the silence they once took for granted. And when they do, that's when the real test of your power begins. Stay with me. Number 8. When curiosity turns into action, and why emotional control wins. The strongest move you can make is showing you never needed to play the game at all. At this stage, my friends, everything has been building up to one moment, the moment when their curiosity becomes too much to bear and they finally act. After days or weeks of silence, of unanswered questions, of overthinking every little detail, they can't take it anymore. They'll reach out. Sometimes it's subtle, a like on social media, a casual, "Hey, how have you been?" text. Other times, it's bolder, bringing up memories, trying to reignite the connection they once felt so sure of. But here's the truth you need to remember. This moment isn't the finish line, it's the test. Because how you respond now decides whether you keep the power you've gained or hand it right back. Most people fail here. The second that message pops up, they go right back to old habits, over-explaining, over-investing, giving all the energy they had been withholding. And just like that, all the mystery, all the tension, all the power built up by silence is gone. But you're different. You've come too far to let emotions run the show again. Stoicism teaches us that true strength isn't about feeling nothing. It's about not letting feelings control you. So when they finally reach out, you don't rush to fill the silence with validation. You don't jump into long conversations. You don't show that you've been waiting by the phone. Instead, you stay calm. You keep your responses short, light, and composed. Not cold, just detached. You show them with your energy that while you're open to talking, you're not desperate for their attention. And this balance, it changes everything. Because now, for the first time, they see you as someone who doesn't need them to feel whole. They see you as someone who is willing to walk away rather than beg to stay. That independence, that self-respect, is magnetic. It makes them realize that winning you back won't be as easy as they thought. And that's the beauty of emotional control. It sets you apart in a world where most people react out of fear. When you stay grounded, when you refuse to be pulled back into old patterns, you send a powerful message without saying a word. My worth doesn't depend on you. My friends, this is the real victory, not because they're chasing you now, but because you've proven to yourself that you no longer need to chase anyone to feel valuable. You've stepped into the version of yourself who doesn't beg for love, but attracts it through self-respect and strength. So write this in the comments right now. I choose self-respect. I choose power. I choose peace. Show yourself, show the world, show anyone who's ever doubted you that you are no longer the same. And if this hit you deep, if it reminded you that silence and emotional control are your greatest weapons, then share your thoughts below. Because once you master this, once you truly let go of needing anyone to validate you, you'll never look at relationships the same way again. This is your moment to take back control. Stay strong, stay calm, stay powerful.